So we're gonna go over some of the comments from our previous video last week. Come on, man. Some of them are pretty stupid. Why would they do that? It makes zero sense. What are you talking about? I think I got whiplash reading these things. So buckle up. No, it actually doesn't make any sense. And what's wild about this suggested list price on this, some of them were actually really good. Great comparison. I think that was sarcastic. Hopefully that doesn't mean the quality goes down. What are you talking about? They don't leak unless there's no difference between any other trailer on the market. This is not what I expected. What's up everyone? Shane here with ROA Off-Road. If you watched our video from last week, you'll see that I did a comparison and I talked about how this Airstream sucked. Actually, I was kind of joking, so you might want to go back and check that video. I was being a little facetious or sarcastic. I just wanted to do my first impressions on an Airstream, and then I also wanted to pit it against our MDC USA camper. This is a couples trailer. That is a couples trailer. I went into this, you know, obviously I'm biased because I sell these and I don't sell Airstreams. I have been in the industry for going on 2 decades, not quite there yet, but I've been selling campers and trailers and I've mostly dealt in the premium sector, right? High-end motorhomes, then moved into premium off-road trailers. Most off-road stuff is premium because it has to be. They have to build it well. So I thought it would be fun to do a side-by-side comparison and my first impressions, because believe it or not, even though I've been in the industry, never really have had an Airstream. So this is one of the very first Airstreams that I've gone through that we got in on a trade, and I wanted to do comparison. During that video, I actually was impressed with a few things on the Airstream. The steps were really cool. The door was very robust. Now, there were a few things that I was a little shocked about as I went inside and started looking at some of the trim, the cabinetry. Wasn't super impressed with the Airstream's cabinetry. The MDC's cabinetry was much better, a lot more premium, and the quality just was way better. I lifted up the mattresses at one point and that was a shocker to me, you know. Underneath the Airstream, it was just bare bone plywood. You could see the screws just screwed right into the top of the plywood. You went into the MDC, underneath the bed, it was like an actual finished piece of wood, little grommets that covered the screws. So I just thought to myself, over the week, I was like, is that really that bad of a deal? I mean, really, when you think about it, like most beds at our home are sitting on top of plywood, at least mine are. That shouldn't hurt the Airstream. I shouldn't make a big deal about that. At the end of the day, I was impressed with the Airstream. I'm way more impressed with our product, which is the MDC. So if you haven't seen it in person, you got to come check it out. But from all these wild comments, I was actually just thinking that I think I got whiplash reading these things more than I've ever gotten whiplash from off-roading. And I go off-roading almost every single week.
My back hurts so bad.
So that's saying something. So I started reading through these comments, and we do read through all of our comments. We don't always reply to the trolls or the stupid comments because we don't want to incite an argument online. I think it's pretty silly. But today I wanted to make a special occasion. I'm not replying to your comment on YouTube, writing it out, but I'm going to reply to it in this video today. So we're going to go over some of the comments from our previous video last week when I did these side-by-side comparisons, my first impressions. And I'm going to read through some of these comments and we're going to kind of reply to some of them. Some of them are pretty stupid, I will admit, so buckle up. Come on this ride with me. Some of them were actually really good, and I'm excited to actually answer those questions because I think it's fair and I think we could all learn something. But let's get into some of these comments right now. Okay, so I just got my handy dandy phone out to read these comments. So let's start with comment number 1, and we're gonna start them with stupidest to most intelligent. So let's go with this question first, or comment, I should say. And he says, you're comparing a Raptor to a 911. Come on, man. A Raptor to a 911. Okay, so let me think this through for a second. In the automobile industry, you have different classes of vehicles, like trucks. You have minivans, you have SUVs, you have sedans, you have coupes or sports cars. Last time I checked, a Ford Raptor fell under the category of truck. And Porsche 911s fell under the category of coupes, sports cars, supercars. Now, in the RV industry, we have similar classes, right? You have motorized, Class A's, Class C's, Class B's, travel trailers. you have fifth wheels, you have tent trailers. Wait, this is a travel trailer, and that's a travel trailer. Wow, that makes a lot of sense how, no, it actually doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? Comparing a 911 Porsche to a Ford Raptor? That makes zero sense. What are you talking about? These both fall under the same category. They are both travel trailers. So maybe you're referring to price. So I just Googled, the most expensive Raptor you can build out is the Raptor R, which is like a special edition, souped up 700 horsepower Raptor, and it's $109,000. So the most souped up Porsche 911 Turbo S you can buy is $273,000. You're pushing 300 grand for a coupe sports car Porsche 911 Turbo S. And the most expensive Raptor, 109 grand. They usually range around 50 to 70. So I'm assuming you're saying this is the 911 because obviously a 911 is made for the street. This is made for the street. And a Raptor is kind of an off-road vehicle, and this is an off-road vehicle. I think that's what you're trying to get at. But honestly, I think that was a stupid comment. Sorry, it just was. Not a very good comparison. We're talking travel trailers here. We're talking premium travel trailers. MDC considers themselves a high-end premium travel trailer. And the manufactured list price on this, brand spanking new, this is not what necessarily we sell them for, but the suggested list price is $120,000. Suggested list price on this, in between 120 and 140. So they actually fall in pretty even when it comes to price, and they're both travel trailers. I mean, what else are we gonna compare this to in the US? We have Pause, so we could compare it to that, which is another trailer we have, so maybe we will do that later on. But this is made in America, it's been around for a long time, and it's the only thing that really falls into the price category of what we're selling. So I think it was pretty fair. It's not off-road, I get it, but they do sell off-road versions, so you can still kind of take away some of the stuff that we're looking at in here, quality-wise, and compare it to the quality on this one. So that's the first comment. That was his original comment, then he added a bunch of details to that comment. He said the community is huge, Airstream community, which is true, and that's really cool. The founder of Airstream, I mentioned in the first video that I'm a huge fan of him. I've read actually a book on him. He's inspired me and I aspire to be like him. As a matter of fact, ROA Off-Road, we have a roamer community similar to the Airstream community, only it's currently living and breathing and expanding right now. The founder of our products, whether it's our Pause or MDC, they'll actually come out on the adventures with you, which is an equivalent of going on an Airstream adventure with the founder. The founder's no longer with us. He's gone, he's passed on. Now it's Thor. Thor is in charge of the Airstream community. So hopefully it continues to be incredible like it has been in the past, but I don't really know. I do know the roamer community is incredible. Our people are the most amazing people, and we do rallies and adventures. So we have a community too. It's not as big yet, but it will get there. Let's go to the next question/comment. A much more intelligent comment, very similar to the last one, but better. He says, great comparison. I think that was sarcastic. He says, do a Porsche Cayenne versus a Chevy Tahoe. Okay, so similar to the last one, in his comment thread, somebody's like, right, like the MDC could even come close to the Silver Bullet. I think he's implying that it doesn't come close to the Airstream. I don't know what you mean by that. Like, is the quality not there? Not true. I'm here standing in front of both of these trailers. I've walked in both of these trailers. I've been in the industry a long time, mostly dealing with premium and quality campers and trailers and RVs. And I can tell you that both of these trailers are very similar when it comes to quality. Now, I will admit this is brand new and this is 4 years old, so that's not very fair. I get that. That was one of the comments. I get that. That's a fair comment. But to say, I'm assuming you're referring to the Airstream as the Porsche Cayenne, and you're referring to the MDC as a Chevy Tahoe. Once again, I really don't like this comment either, because first of all, expensive, Cayenne, Turbo, GT, over $200,000. Chevy Tahoe, $50,000 to $100,000 fully loaded. I get it, these are travel trailers. At least you got that category right. You stuck with SUV and SUV, so I appreciate that. But I think you're implying that this is a Porsche, which means it's better quality, higher end, but it's not. This is just as good quality as the Airstream. Actually come and look at it for yourself and you'll see it's actually better quality. It really is. If you come and see it, you won't argue that, especially this one. Maybe you can go get a brand new Airstream right off the press and it's beautiful and the quality is great. I'm talking about this unit that I was walking through. Comparing this unit to this unit, the quality of this unit, the attention to detail is much, much better than this one. I like this Airstream unit. I actually think Airstream is an iconic brand. I'm a fan. I even think calling it a Porsche Cayenne is an okay example, but this can rival the Porsche. If you're gonna call this a Cayenne Porsche, I would call this a Mercedes G-Wagon, because you can get a G-Wagon for 200 grand and you're gonna get a Porsche Cayenne for 200 grand if that's what you're looking for, right? Tahoe is like not a very good comparison because Tahoes are not like off-road, the most premium. This is going to be one of the most premium trailers you can buy in America, and this is gonna be one of the most premium trailers you can buy in America. This one is gonna be more geared towards off-road, and this one's gonna be geared towards more on-road, but you're gonna pay similar amounts for both of them. A little bit more, but a really loaded Cayenne Turbo GT is gonna be more than a G-Wagon. So there you have it. So let's move on to what I now call a very good question. And I actually think this is a great discussion to have. Now, I will admit that I kind of opened up that last week's video to questions and comments. I said, if I say something wrong, please make a comment. Nobody really made a comment about something that I said about the Airstream or the MDC. They just mostly throw out a bunch of opinions, which is okay. This is fun. We got some stuff to talk about right now. So let's go into this one. This is a great question, and appeal of the Airstream is the durability and price retention. How often do you reseal the roof of an Airstream versus an MDC? That's actually a fantastic question. I had to do a little bit of looking into and decided that today, to answer this question, we would need to get a ladder, because I've never actually been on the roof of an Airstream until today. We've got a ladder here with us today, and we're gonna climb up and we're gonna look at the roof of the Airstream, because I'm actually really intrigued on the seams of an Airstream and what type of maintenance it's going to require, as well as the MDC we can talk about. But before we get to the roofs, let's talk about the durability and the price retention. Okay, number one, I won't even argue with price retention. Airstreams are known for retaining their prices. That is what's really cool about owning an Airstream. And I have nothing really to say against that. That's a huge, huge perk in buying Airstreams. You can sell them for a good amount of money. They hold their value. Now, the market is relatively in its infancy when it comes to off-road trailers in the United States. Airstream's been around almost 100 years. These off-road trailers have been around for 5, 6, 7 years max. There's not a lot of units in the market. Airstream builds 5,000 units a year. I think the last time I checked, that's what they're building. Thor purchased them. Hopefully that doesn't mean the quality goes down. I've heard it is. And they're also trying to ramp up production. That's not really good for your value. But Airstream historically has been building 2,000 or 3,000 units a year, I believe, over the last 50 years. So there's not a lot of units getting pumped into the market. Now, just so you understand, 2,000 to 3,000 units, you might say that's a lot. The US had a down year for manufacturing last year, and it was still over 300,000 units. Travel trailers, RVs, motorhomes, fifth wheels. So 2,000 to 3,000 units is not a lot when you compare it to 300,000 units. The off-road industry last year, depending on how you look at it, it's a couple thousand. If you count teardrops and little mom and pop shops, you could get up as high as 5,000 units, but that's between all of the manufacturers. So generally, supply and demand is what is going to be driving prices. And hopefully, when you're looking at like these cheap run-of-the-mill, when they build 20,000, cheap trailers, those are gonna drop like a rock. Airstream, they don't build that many, but nor does MDC or any of our off-road trailers. So hopefully that will hold the value on these trailers long-term, but I can't really answer too much to that. We know for sure Airstreams hold their value better than anything else. Now, durability, 100%, this is more durable. Like, you can't even argue that. MDC is so confident that that frame will not fail you, that they give it a lifetime warranty. Our off-road trailers are way, way more durable than any Airstream that I've ever seen from a distance, close up. I've walked around this one more than anything else, and no, absolutely not. That is more durable. So as far as your durability, yeah, it's more durable than a cheap Jayco or whatever trailer you're looking at on most dealer lots. It is not more durable than our off-road trailers. So there you have on that one. Let's go grab that ladder. Let's get on the roof and check out the sills on these trailers. Holy moly. This is not what I expected. We are on the roof of the Airstream. How often do you have to reseal the roof on the Airstream versus the MDC? Well, generally, anywhere that you use any type of sealant, you have to reseal, right? So that's the benefit of getting like an Oliver trailer. If you ever heard of Oliver, it's a one-piece fiberglass. There's not a lot of seams to reseal. So when he actually made this comment, like how often does an Airstream have to be resealed versus an MDC? Thought it was a great question. I assumed, which is not always a good thing to do, that Airstream's aluminum shell was one solid piece that went from wall to wall. I thought it was just a one piece that came over, but it's not. This is wild. There's a seam right here. Do you see this? Like the whole length of the trailer, there's a seam and there's trim. Over here too. See this? There is a seam that goes along the entire length of the trailer. So the walls meet the roof on that curved part, and then there's a seam. So it appears that this is separate panels. That's the only reason why you put a seam. And that seam is going to require maintenance. That is wild. This is a maintenance item every single year. At least once a year or every other year, you have to get up here and you have to caulk these seams. If you do not, they will leak. Now this is wild too. Look at this. In the front, there's a double seam. This whole thing right here, this caulk has gone across here, and then they have another aluminum piece, and then they have a whole nother one right here. Why would they do that? That's a double point where you can leak. When that comment was made, I was actually really intrigued to get on the roof and see it. And I thought there's a misconception that people have when it comes to roofs and leaking in trailers. Generally, the leak points are wherever there's sealant, wherever there's a hole in the roof. So it's a point of entry, right? So for example, look at this. So right here, this is a vent. This is probably the bathroom. So you see all this caulk or this sealant down here that's wrapping around it. That is a leak hazard. You can see this actually, if you took this to a service center, they would tell you that this is dangerous because you can see these cracks in here. That means this could leak. The water could get into here and intrude into the trailer, and this could start leaking. This is a point of entry, right? So when the guy asked, how often do you have to reseal an Airstream roof? I thought to myself, well, you're for sure gonna have to reseal the roof because there's gonna be vents. Wherever there's a vent, there's maintenance involved. Wherever there's an air conditioner, there's potential maintenance. Wherever there's a dome, see this is a dome, you can see they got the lap sealant all the way around it. Wherever there's a dome, there's going to be maintenance, right? I thought to myself, there's for sure domes. So when the guy made the comment, I thought maybe he's thinking that there's zero maintenance on an Airstream roof, which is not true. There's always gonna be maintenance on any roof on any trailer. Now, important disclaimer. My experience with most trailers is they don't leak unless they get neglected. Right out of the manufacturer, if the manufacturer's done what they're supposed to do, which is seal the roof properly, that trailer's not gonna leak for at least a year or two. But after a year or two, it could start leaking. And the reason why is because the customer or the owner doesn't take that trailer into a facility or themselves get on the roof and check all the seals. Like right there, that is probably gonna leak if it doesn't get resealed like really, really soon. That's pretty important. As soon as I'm done with this video, going straight to the service guys to tell them to reseal that because that is going to leak. That is what you have to do. And that's a once a year, every other year. This trailer is 4 years old. So clearly, when was this done last? I don't know. It looks like it's been Maybe it's never been done. Maybe it's going on 4 years. But like I said, anytime roofs leak, it's user negligence. And what that means is you are not taking care of your trailer properly. You have to get up and check the seals or take it to a service center and have them check the seals. Annually is what is recommended. You might be able to get away with only doing your seals every few years because they check it and everything looks good. So as long as you're checking your seals, you're not gonna ever have a leak. But wherever there's a point of entry, you're going to potentially have a leak. And what's wild about this Airstream, like I already mentioned, you have seams along the entire length of the trailer, which tells me that there's no difference between an Airstream and any other trailer on the market because they all have that same seam along the entire length of the trailer. And the Airstream has 2 seams in the front, which is silly and wild. So let's have a fun game and let's count how many points of entry or how many seams that this is going to have that you have to reseal every year. So I already pointed out in the front, you have 1, 2. So we're just count the whole seam as 1 that needs to be maintained. So we have 1, 2 on the front, and then we have 3 for the side. We have 4 for this side, and then we have 5, 6. There's 2 more in the back. So we're at 6 now. We haven't even got to the center domes yet. This antenna right in front of you, this is like a Wi-Fi range booster. See those 3 screw holes? Those are potential leak points. I'm just gonna count this as 1 though. I'm not gonna count it as 3. So we're at 6 now with 7, okay? There's like a lip right here. It's like a channel. And I'm not 100% sure why they do that. It seems strange to me because when it rains, water's gonna flow and it's gonna puddle right here. Like instead of flowing off. And see these screws? Each one of these holes is a leak point, and this whole entire seam is a leak point. Anyway, just something I noticed, which was strange. But so we had 6, 7 AC unit, that's a potential leak point. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11. This right here, we're gonna say is 12. We're gonna go 13, 14 right here. 15, this is where your solar gets plugged in. This AC is gonna be 16. This teeny little antenna right here, that's a screw. They screwed it in the roof. So that's 17. And then the solar panels have 4 brackets. Let's just count them as 1 because obviously if you're gonna reseal them, you're gonna check all the brackets. Instead of counting it as 4 separate, let's just say it's 1, but it really technically is 4. We go to 18, another solar panel, 19, another dome, 20, another dome, 21, and then look at this little wire. See this little wire going all the way, working its way back? It goes into there and there's a hole in the roof back there. That puts us at 22. And then come over here. This right here is your chimney for your fridge. So this is gonna have silicone around it, which puts you at 23. And then there's a shield right here, which puts you at 24. Why do they have a shield here? I don't understand what the purpose of the shield is. You know what I think it might be? This is like a gutter. I think it's a rain gutter because AC units, when they get overworking, they have condensation. So the condensation drains out. Generally, it just drains out of the roof and just pours down the roof and finds a way off the roof. But this is a chimney to the fridge. So I'm wondering if the condensation, since the roof is curved, I wonder if the condensation would go in there and puddle up and fill up and drop down the chimney of the fridge down into the actual trailer behind the refrigerator. I don't know why they did that because it's gonna fill in right there and just fill up. So instead it's gonna hit that, it will beat off and go away from the chimney. I have no idea why they did that, but I think that's everything. That is 24 leak points on the trailer. That's 24 points of entry for this Airstream roof. 24 different spots that you have to check and seal that could potentially dry out, crack, and leak into the trailer. So if you think an Airstream is maintenance free, you think it never has to be resealed, that's not true. You're lying to yourself. There's no trailers on the market that have 0 maintenance on the roof, even the ones that tout a full molded fiberglass, because even those units have air conditioners and vents and domes, and there's always something on a roof that potentially can leak. There might be less leak points, like an Oliver, that's a really great company. They might only have half a dozen leak points, opposed to 24 leak points. Now let's jump over to the MDC and look at its roof so you can get a good idea or a comparison. One of the cool things about this too is if you are in a pickle and you need to get on the roof, you can do it from inside. Of course, there is a ladder on the back of the trailer, and it's pretty easy to get up here on that ladder. Unfortunately, the Airstream, you have to have a ladder, and it's actually kind of sketchy getting up there because the whole thing's curved. So it's really hard to lean a ladder against it, and I actually was really nervous that I was gonna bend or break the aluminum skin. But here we are on this roof. And in all fairness, we need to count now the seams on this trailer. So we have the shower, that's one. We have solar panels. Remember, we are counting those as one, even though there's a bracket and there's two brackets. The Airstream had 4 different brackets. They were smaller brackets. These are just one large bracket on each side. So we have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then the air conditioner is 9. This is 10. This dome is 11. And now let's talk about the seam on the actual roof. The front of the roof would be 12, the side 13, 14, and then the back 15. So the question asked was, how often do you have to reseal the roof of an Airstream versus an MDC? Now, I know I was talking with the owner of MDC, and he says, Shane, when we seal it, we sometimes see people not needing to reseal their roof for 5 to 10 years. Not saying that you shouldn't get up and still check, because I believe in an annual maintenance. To me, I believe roof maintenance is like an oil change. You do it every year in your car, sometimes multiple times a year. That's what you do with your roof on your trailer. As long as you are vigilant and doing it once a year, you have a very low chance of ever having a leak in your trailer. And if you do get a leak, it's not the end of the world. You find out where it's at and get it fixed as fast as possible. So there you have it, 15 versus 24. That is wild. So I have one last final comment on this phone that I want to talk about. And I think this is a great spot to end at. It says, awesome. I've always thought I wanted an Airstream, but now I'm reconsidering and looking at off-road camping options with a big heart emoji. So gotta love the heart emoji. I think this is a great comment, and I think it's great advice. The advice that I would give to you, if you thought Airstream was the only quality premium trailer on the market and it's all you knew, then that's all you know. But now, if you're watching this video, you know there's something else out on the market, and you should educate yourself. You should go out and look. You can reach out to us. Obviously, we sell these trailers, so we know a lot about them, but there's also a lot of video content, especially on the MDC products. In Australia, they have hundreds, thousands videos online. You actually have customer reviews, so you can educate yourself. There are more and more options in the US. The US has been changing recently, and they are making more premium, high-end, quality options for the consumers. And it's important that you understand that and educate yourself before you go out and buy a trailer, especially if it's an expensive premium trailer like one of these. There you have it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something. Make some comments below. Be kind. Remember what your mother taught you. Be kind. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And see you on the next video when I go into more comparisons about some of the specs on these trailers so you can better educate yourself on our trailers versus an Airstream. So thanks for watching and have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.